For more than 70 years, Antarctica has been the most forbidden, most mysterious, and most heavily restricted place on Earth. A land buried under miles of ice. A land where satellites detect impossible structures. Where whistleblowers describe underground chambers filled with unknown symbols. And where one man, Admiral Richard Byrd, claimed to have seen something the world still isn't ready for. In 1946, the United States launched Operation Highjump, the largest Antarctic expedition in human history. Officially, they said it was for research. Unofficially, something happened that forced the mission to end months early. Something Byrd tried to warn the world about before his reports were silenced. Something connected to a hidden world beneath the ice. In this video, we explore a chilling trail of evidence: secret diaries, satellite anomalies, whistleblower testimonies, mysterious pyramids, ancient flood myths, and reports of disc-shaped craft emerging from beneath the ice. Is there a lost civilization buried under the ice? Did an advanced species, human or not, once inhabit Antarctica? And why are governments around the world desperate to keep us away from certain regions of the continent? Today, we dive deep into one of the greatest unsolved mysteries on the planet. Don't just watch, listen carefully, because everything you're about to hear challenges what we think we know about history, technology, and our place on Earth. Hit like, subscribe, and let's uncover the truth they never wanted us to find. Operation Highjump, the mission that started it all. In the final months of 1946, as the world was still healing from the fires of World War II, the United States quietly prepared an expedition unlike anything ever attempted before. 13 naval ships, 23 aircraft, and over 4,700 men were ordered to sail toward the coldest, most dangerous, and least understood continent on Earth: Antarctica. But what makes Operation Highjump so mysterious is not just its size, it is the urgency and secrecy surrounding it. Why, only months after the most devastating war in history, did the U.S. military feel compelled to launch such a massive operation to a place that supposedly held no strategic value? Admiral Richard Byrd, a decorated war hero and world-famous polar explorer, was placed in command. Byrd wasn't just any officer. He was a man known for pushing the boundaries of exploration, a man who had flown over both poles and survived conditions that would kill an ordinary human being. So when he accepted the mission, many believed it was purely scientific. But others whispered that Byrd was given specific orders that were never released to the public. Officially, Operation Highjump was described as a training mission, a chance for the U.S. Navy to practice cold-weather survival. However, the classified documents told a different story. The military was tasked with establishing bases, testing weapons in extreme conditions, and, most puzzling of all, investigating unknown threats. Unknown threats in Antarctica? That was a detail the public never heard. Even more suspicious is what happened once the operation began. Highjump was planned to last 4 months, but something changed. The mission ended abruptly after only 8 weeks. Ships returned damaged. Aircraft were lost. Eyewitnesses later claimed the fleet had encountered something that terrified them. Rumors spread quickly among those who served. Some whispered about strange lights in the sky. Others claimed they saw metallic discs rising from beneath the ice. One pilot allegedly reported being attacked by highly advanced flying craft. The Navy denied everything. And yet, upon returning home, Admiral Byrd made a chilling statement in an interview with a Chilean newspaper.
He warned that the United States must be prepared for a new enemy, one capable of flying from pole to pole at incredible speeds. His words sent shockwaves through the intelligence community. So, what really happened during Operation Highjump? Why was the mission cut short? And what did Admiral Byrd encounter in the frozen vastness of Antarctica that led him to issue a warning the world was not ready to hear? This is where the deeper mystery begins. The alleged secret diary of Admiral Byrd. While the public saw Admiral Byrd as a heroic explorer, many believe his most shocking experiences were never included in his official reports. Decades after his death, a mysterious document became circulating, referred to as Admiral Byrd's secret diary. In it, Byrd describes an event so extraordinary that, if true, it would rewrite the boundaries of science, history, and human understanding. The diary claims that during one of his flights over the South Pole, Byrd encountered something completely unexpected. Instead of endless ice and blinding snowstorms, he suddenly flew into a region that should not exist in Antarctica, a warm, lush, green valley. According to the writings, the air was temperate, the sky was glowing, and prehistoric animals roamed below. His instruments malfunctioned. His aircraft felt as if it was being controlled externally. Then, something even stranger happened. Metallic disc-shaped craft, silent, fast, and maneuvering with impossible precision, appeared around his plane. Byrd writes that these craft escorted him deeper into what he believed was the interior of the Earth. What he saw next was beyond comprehension, a shining, crystalline city radiating with rainbow-like colors. Byrd claims he was guided to land his plane and then brought, peacefully, into a grand hall where he met a being he called the Master. This master allegedly warned him about humanity's destructive path, especially the use of nuclear weapons. According to the diary, these beings had long observed the surface world and feared we were heading towards self-destruction. Could this diary be authentic? Skeptics argue that no such document exists in official archives. Supporters say that government agencies confiscated the real logs and suppressed Byrd's testimony because it would destabilize global belief systems. What's undeniable is that the diary's content matches many other accounts of underground civilizations, UFO encounters, and nuclear-related warnings. If Admiral Byrd truly encountered a hidden world beneath Antarctica, then Operation Highjump was far more than a scientific mission. It was the closest humanity had come to discovering another realm on Earth.
Encounter with the Master and the Crystal City. Admiral Richard Byrd believed he was flying over the coldest, most desolate stretch of land on Earth. His instruments indicated sub-zero temperatures, violent wind currents, and an endless expanse of white. But then, everything changed. The diary describes a sudden shift, a warm breeze against the aircraft, a golden, radiant glow filtering through clouds. And then, breathtakingly, the world opened before him. "My God, this is impossible," he reportedly murmured. Below, instead of ice, stretched a lush green valley lit with a soft inner sun. Rivers of warm, shimmering water cut through fields of tall grass. Massive creatures, some resembling mammoths, others long extinct, wandered peacefully across the terrain. Byrd struggled to comprehend how a tropical ecosystem could exist in the heart of Antarctica. And then the discs arrived. Silent, metallic, aerodynamic in a way no human machine had ever achieved. These glowing craft flew with impossible precision, forming a perfect formation behind Byrd's aircraft as if guiding him. His controls went rigid. The plane was no longer his own. He wrote, "My instruments spin wildly. I am unable to command my controls. We are being pulled." Moments later, Byrd saw a city unlike he had ever imagined.
Towers sculpted from luminous material, domes gleaming with refracted rainbow light, and crystalline structures arranged in perfect symmetrical harmony. It was a civilization, but not ours. When Byrd landed, he was escorted by tall, peaceful beings with flawless features, pale hair, and glowing eyes, the kind that radiated an intelligence far beyond human comprehension. They communicated without speaking, projecting warmth, calmness, and understanding directly into his mind. He was taken into a chamber where he met the figure known only as the Master. The Master explained that their people had lived within the earth for thousands, perhaps millions of years. They had watched civilizations rise and fall on the surface. They had observed wars, collapses, and rebirths. And now they were urgently concerned. The Master told Byrd, "The surface world has reached a dangerous point. Your atomic weapons threaten the balance of Earth, both outside and within. Your wars ravage life, but nuclear power disrupts the very fabric of existence." He warned that atomic explosions send destructive waves through the Earth's internal structure, threatening both worlds. The beings had attempted to warn humanity before, appearing in ancient times as gods, angels, or celestial messengers, but only a few ever listened. This civilization, Byrd noted, did not fear humans, but feared what humans were becoming. The Master assured Byrd their intention was peace, not domination. They wished to guide humanity away from self-destruction, but they would intervene if nuclear aggression continued. Their final message? "When the surface civilization is ready, we shall reveal ourselves. But first, your leaders must understand the truth." When Byrd returned to the surface, he planned to share everything. But upon landing, he was escorted directly to Washington. His notes were confiscated. He was interrogated for hours. Then he was ordered to remain silent. Byrd's diary ends with a haunting line. "This message must eventually be delivered to the world, but until that day, I am bound by secrecy." If true, Byrd became the only modern human to encounter a civilization hidden within the Earth, a civilization watching us, monitoring us, perhaps even protecting us.
UFOs, nuclear sites, and modern connections. If Admiral Byrd's account stood alone, it might be dismissed as fantasy or wartime stress. But what happened decades later across nuclear bases in the United States, Russia, and other countries forms a pattern, a chilling pattern that matches the warnings allegedly given by the Master beneath Antarctica. It began quietly. In the late 1940s and early 1950s, military personnel stationed near nuclear test sites began reporting strange aerial phenomena. Bright objects darting across the sky at speeds beyond any known aircraft. Silent disks descending vertically without propulsion. Spherical lights hovering directly above missile silos. At first, these sightings were brushed aside, buried in classified reports or written off as misidentified aircraft. But then something happened that no one could ignore. Nuclear missiles began shutting down. Not once. Not twice, but repeatedly. In 1967, the Malmstrom Air Force Base incident became one of the most documented events in military history. 10 nuclear missiles, each independently controlled, suddenly went offline. All systems malfunctioned at the exact same moment. Witnesses outside the base described a glowing red disk hovering silently above the silos. Inside, alarms blared, lights flickered. Engineers scrambled to diagnose the problem, but the missile systems were not merely malfunctioning, they had been disabled. Something had taken control. Former Air Force Captain Robert Salas, after decades of silence, finally spoke publicly. A UFO hovered over the base. The missiles were shut down. We had no control, no explanation, and we were told
to never speak of it. Incidents like this were not isolated. They occurred in Montana, North Dakota, Wyoming, Arkansas, Russia, multiple sites, Ukraine, 1982, 15 missiles armed themselves without command. Each time, the same patterns were reported. A strange craft appears above the site. It emits beams or pulses of light. Missile control systems go offline or activate without authorization. The craft vanishes instantly. These craft possessed technology far beyond any nation's capability. The U.S. government was terrified. These weren't attacks meant to harm. They were demonstrations, warnings perhaps, exactly like the warnings Byrd said he received from the Master. If humanity continues down the nuclear path, your world will face consequences. The correlation is almost impossible to ignore. Even more curious, not a single missile silo incident in any nation resulted in destruction, death, or an actual launch. Whoever or whatever controlled these craft seemed more interested in showing their capabilities than causing harm. It was as if they were saying, "We see what you are doing, we do not approve, and we can stop you at any time." High-ranking officials who later came forward all described the same impression. The objects were monitoring nuclear activity with extreme precision. They were aware of test schedules, launch codes, and classified locations no enemy nation even knew. In 2008, former Deputy Base Commander Colonel Charles Halt broke decades of silence. The technology we observed was beyond anything Earth possesses. These craft had intelligence, intent, and they wanted to send a message. This was not just a United States phenomenon. The Soviet Union reported nearly identical encounters. One of the most alarming occurred in Ukraine, 1982. During a routine watch, missile operators saw lights appear over the base. Silos went into full activation mode. Warheads armed themselves without human command. For 15 minutes, the world stood on the brink of annihilation until suddenly everything shut down again. No explanation, no malfunction detected, nothing in the logs. As years passed, the sightings continued. Objects flying thousands of miles per hour, craft shaped like discs, cigars, or glowing orbs. Radar locks confirmed by multiple stations, jets scrambling, unable to intercept. Objects diving into oceans without splash or slowing. Each case added another piece to the puzzle. Each sighting mirrored the flying discs Byrd described deep beneath Antarctica. And then the most disturbing realization emerged. These visitors only appeared after nuclear weapons were invented. Before Hiroshima and Nagasaki, UFO encounters were rare. After, they skyrocketed, just as the Master warned Byrd. That raises an unsettling question, one that experts and governments still refuse to address openly. Are nuclear weapons a danger not just to humanity, but to other civilizations living on or within Earth? If Byrd's account is true, then the beings beneath Antarctica may not be distant aliens from another galaxy. They could be terrestrial, advanced species sharing this planet, hidden beneath its crust, perhaps predating human civilization by millennia. And if Earth is shared, if we are not alone here, then their involvement in nuclear monitoring makes profound sense. They are not invading. They are not attacking. They are protecting themselves, and maybe us. As Admiral Byrd's experience echoes across decades of nuclear incidents, one chilling truth becomes harder to dismiss. Someone or something is watching, and they are deeply concerned about what humanity has created.
Antarctica, the last hidden frontier. Antarctica, a place so vast, so untouched, so brutally inhospitable that even today, with satellites, icebreakers, drones, and nuclear-powered ships, we have mapped Mars and the Moon more thoroughly than this frozen continent.
It is the last blank space on Earth's map, a realm of silence, isolation, and secrets buried under ice deeper than skyscrapers are tall. But beneath this icy wilderness, some believe, lies something far beyond frozen rock and ancient snow, something that could rewrite human history. The most extreme place on Earth. Antarctica is unlike any other landmass on the planet. 98% of it is covered in ice. Parts of the ice sheet reach 3 miles thick. Winds strike with hurricane force, up to 200 miles per hour. Temperatures plunge to -100 degrees Fahrenheit. It contains 70% of Earth's fresh water. Yet beneath this frozen empire lies something astonishing, a continent hiding mountains, rivers, and valleys. Entire ecosystems exist in total darkness, sealed off from the atmosphere for millions of years. In 2013, scientists discovered Lake Vostok, a massive freshwater lake buried under 2.5 miles of ice, 200 times larger than Manhattan. Despite total isolation, early studies suggest that microbial life might still thrive there. If life can survive under Antarctica's crushing ice, what else could? Antarctica was not always frozen. This is where things become even more mysterious. According to geological records, Antarctica wasn't always covered in ice. Millions of years ago, it had forests, rivers, green valleys, and temperatures warm enough for dinosaur-like creatures to roam freely. Even more puzzling, in 2017, preserved remains of ancient tropical plants were discovered beneath the ice. Scientists found fossilized tree rings, spores, and roots, evidence that Antarctica once flourished with life. So what happened? Some scientists believe Antarctica shifted thousands of miles due to tectonic movement. Others suggested an abrupt catastrophic freeze, a rapid drop in temperature that flash froze the continent. And then there are the ancient civilizations theorists. They propose something far more dramatic. Antarctica may have once been the home of an advanced civilization, buried when a sudden cataclysm plunged it into ice. If this is true, the ruins of that civilization could still lie beneath the frozen surface, perfectly preserved. The ice hides structures we cannot explain. In recent years, advanced radar systems, the same technology used to detect underground bunkers, have probed deep into Antarctica. What they found shocked researchers. Geometric lines, perfectly straight edges, dome-shaped anomalies, symmetrical formations. These signatures differ drastically from natural geological formations. Some appear to resemble walls, rectangular chambers, massive pyramidal shapes. Even the most skeptical scientists cannot fully explain them. The ice is simply too thick, and we are only scratching the surface. Scientific access is extremely restricted. Most people don't know that Antarctica is governed by one of the strangest political agreements in the world, the Antarctic Treaty System. Signed by 56 nations, it prohibits military activity, nuclear testing, mining, unrestricted travel, and independent expeditions without approval. Why such harsh limits on a frozen desert? The official answer is environmental protection. But some researchers believe the treaty has another purpose, to keep people away from something hidden beneath the ice. Look at the strange facts. No nation is allowed to claim land. No independent drilling below a certain depth. No unauthorized flights over specific regions. Numerous zones are marked as no-fly zones without explanation. Why? What is there to hide? Suspicious government activity. Over the decades, several governments have shown an unusual level of interest in Antarctica. The U.S. launched Operation Highjump, the largest Antarctic expedition in history. The Soviet Union conducted classified deep-core drilling operations. Britain maintains hidden installations in remote areas. Germany showed intense obsession with Antarctica during World War II. Each nation denied any secret projects, but the silence only deepens the mystery. Modern expeditions keep finding the unexplained. In recent years, scientists have discovered massive heat signatures beneath the ice, indicating unknown energy sources. Huge cavities melting the ice from below. Circular entrances carved into mountains. Structures resembling fortified walls. NASA's ice-penetrating radar revealed a massive void the size of the Great Pyramid of Giza under the Thwaites Glacier, a void that should not exist. What created it? Natural process? A geothermal anomaly? Or something artificial? The deeper researchers look, the stranger Antarctica becomes. The perfect hiding place. If a civilization, ancient or extraterrestrial, wanted to remain hidden from the surface world, Antarctica would be the perfect refuge. Inaccessible, uninhabited, barely explored, protected by international law, concealed beneath miles of ice. The idea may sound extreme, but the evidence keeps accumulating. As one researcher said, if you wanted to hide something on Earth, you would hide it in Antarctica, the last frontier, the last sealed vault of the planet, a place where something ancient or alive might be waiting.
Whistleblower testimonies. Spartan 1 and the hidden structures beneath the ice. For decades, stories of strange structures hidden beneath Antarctica circulated quietly among military personnel, whispered in mess halls, traded in coded language, spoken only when the wind howled loud enough to drown the words. These stories were dismissed by the outside world as conspiracy theories, until the whistleblowers came forward. The most notable among them is a man known only as Spartan 1, a retired U.S. Navy SEAL who broke silence in 2018 after carrying classified knowledge for nearly 15 years. His identity was hidden, his voice distorted, but his words, they chilled anyone who heard them. The mission that was not on any map. Spartan 1 recounted a mission from August 2003. Officially, it was a reconnaissance and personnel retrieval assignment. Unofficially, it was something far stranger. His team was flown across the Antarctic ice shelf, guided by coordinates they were told not to question. Their aircraft descended toward a featureless white landscape, or so it appeared. But as the snowstorm cleared, something monumental rose from the ice. A massive, octagonal structure. 18 feet of its top protruded above the surface, carved with precision. The rest, according to seismic readings, stretched hundreds of feet below the ice. It looked ancient, not built by the modern world, not weathered by time, almost as if it had been preserved deliberately beneath the ice. Spartan described it as perfectly geometric, perfectly engineered, not natural, nothing made by wind, ice, or God. The impossible doors. As the team approached, they found an entrance sealed by enormous black doors, each between 18 and 30 feet thick. But here was the impossible part. Despite their size and weight, despite being made of an unknown metallic material, the doors opened at the slightest touch. One soldier pressed a single finger to a metallic symbol etched into the door, and the entire structure responded. The door slid open, smooth and silent, as if weightless. Inside, the first shock hit them. The temperature was a consistent 68 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit, warm, comfortable, and utterly unnatural for the coldest region on Earth. Their suits were no longer necessary. "Something is generating heat," Spartan whispered. But there were no pipes, no vents, nothing mechanical. A light with no source. Inside the structure was a long, sloping corridor illuminated by a diffused greenish light. Yet the team could find no bulbs, no panels, no wiring. The walls themselves glowed, as though made from a material that absorbed and re-emitted energy. It reminded Spartan of bioluminescence, but synthetic, controlled, intelligent. The walls were smooth, metallic,
but warm to the touch. Then came the carvings. Unknown hieroglyphics. The walls were covered with symbols, not Egyptian, not Mayan, not Sumerian, but something entirely different. Characters arranged in patterns that suggested a structured written language, yet nothing the team could decipher. Some symbols repeated in sequences, others were embedded in circular mandalas. Some appeared raised, glowing faintly, as if active. Spartan described them with unease. It wasn't human writing. This wasn't from any civilization we know of. And then came the chamber. The central hall. After descending through the winding corridors, the team reached a massive hall, at least 300 feet across and 200 feet tall. The interior architecture was unlike any structure on Earth. Smooth archways, columns shaped like twisting vines, platforms arranged in spiraling patterns, a central dais that appeared almost crystalline. But the room held something far more disturbing. Around the chamber were structures that resembled cryopods, tall, vertical pods made from transparent material. Many were empty, but not all. Inside several, Spartan said he saw figures. Humanoid, tall, thin, dark silhouettes suspended as if in stasis. He refused to describe them in detail during the initial interview, saying only, "They weren't human. That's all I can say." Later, off record, he reportedly told Linda Moulton Howe, "If the public saw what we saw, civilization would collapse overnight." The warning from above. As the SEAL team documented the structure, they received an urgent radio command. Extraction now. Immediate. When they reached the surface, a helicopter was already waiting. A squad of men in unmarked black uniforms, not Navy, not Air Force, not Army, ordered them into the aircraft at gunpoint. They were flown to a classified installation near McMurdo Station. There, Spartan said, they were interrogated, threatened, ordered to sign non-disclosure agreements, told the structure did not exist, told to forget everything. They were warned, "This mission never happened. Speak of it, and you will be erased." Spartan obeyed for years, but eventually he could no longer carry the weight of silence. Other whistleblowers came forward. Spartan 1 was not alone. A Navy flight engineer described flying over a forbidden region and witnessing a 200-foot-wide entrance in the ice, heat signatures rising from deep underground, their instruments malfunctioning instantly, a sudden navigation blackout. When they reported the anomaly, they were met by men in suits, not part of any known military branch, who silenced them. A former scientist at McMurdo Station described seismic readings that indicated massive hollow caverns under the ice, chambers shaped too perfectly to be natural. A British researcher claimed satellite data showed pyramidal geometry beneath the ice shelf. These testimonies, combined with the Spartan account, form a picture of a hidden world beneath Antarctica, sealed off, protected, and accessible only to select military elites. The question: if these structures exist, if these beings exist, if these secrets lie beneath the ice, then Antarctica is more than a continent. It is a vault containing something ancient, something powerful, something the world is not ready to face. And the governments of the world know it.
Satellite anomalies and possible crash sites. For decades, Antarctica remained invisible to the world, not by design, but simply because technology wasn't advanced enough to explore it. But then came the satellites. Cold, drifting, unblinking machines orbiting Earth, quietly peeling back the white curtain of the South Pole. What they revealed would ignite debates, fuel conspiracies, and raise questions that governments refused to answer. Eyes in the sky. In the early 2000s, high-resolution satellite imagery became available to civilian researchers. And almost immediately, anomalies began appearing. Shapes, shadows, structures, and trails across Antarctica that no natural processes could explain. Researchers scanning the icy expanse from their home computers suddenly found perfectly geometric openings in mountains, linear tracks stretching for miles, cylindrical objects half buried in ice, symmetrical ridges resembling ancient architecture, heat signatures from deep underground, gigantic voids beneath glaciers. These discoveries were not optical illusions. They were recorded, mapped, and re-verified by multiple satellite sources. Then came one of the most shocking images of all, the South Georgia crash incident. In 2018, online researchers released coordinates that would capture global attention. South Georgia Island, near Antarctica. There, lying in the snow, was an elongated object, around 50 to 60 meters in length, carved into the ice as if it had skidded during impact. Behind it stretched a long, straight trail, like a crash-landing skid mark. But this was no airplane. Its shape was wrong. No wings, no stabilizers, no cockpit, no engines. Smooth, cylindrical, tapered at the ends. Almost identical to a mysterious object that entered our solar system the same year. Oumuamua, the interstellar visitor that baffled astronomers with its unnatural acceleration and cigar-like shape. Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb famously proposed that Oumuamua might be an extraterrestrial probe. Was it a coincidence that a near-identical shape appeared crashed on the ice months later? Many didn't think so. The skid mark showed the object hit the ground with tremendous force, but instead of tumbling, it slid in a straight line. An aircraft would have bounced, flipped, or shattered. A massive metal tube-like object? That would cut through ice cleanly. The satellite images were clear. This was no weather balloon, no rock, no natural formation. Something had come down from the sky. The three-part megastructure. Another anomaly emerged near the Shackleton mountain range, a vast triangular formation, with three peaks forming a perfect pyramid shape. Researchers initially dismissed it, just mountains, but when an expedition team applied geometric analysis, the results were stunning. Each face was symmetrically angled, each corner aligned to cardinal directions. Each side length was proportionally identical. This was not random geology. This was design. Even mainstream geologists began to look at the images with hesitation. One commented anonymously, "If this formation were anywhere else on Earth, we would classify it as man-made. But in Antarctica, it was labeled a natural coincidence, a convenient explanation." The giant entrances, exactly saucer-shaped. In 2016, researchers discovered another anomaly, a colossal, perfectly round entrance carved into the side of a mountain, over 90 meters wide. The opening resembled the exact shape of a flying saucer. Not similar, not vaguely reminiscent, exact. And the entrance descended downward at a sharp angle into darkness. The interior walls appeared smooth, not eroded, not jagged, not carved by natural ice flow. It was as if something had melted or drilled its way through. Other entrances emerged in subsequent satellite images, each identical, each circular, each leading underground. What were they? Ice caves? Alien hangars? Ancient ventilation shafts? Hidden military tunnels? Governments offered no explanation, but they reacted. The censorship pattern. Within weeks of the images going viral, multiple coordinates across Antarctica became
pixel blurred, overlaid with white squares, flagged as restricted zones on mapping platforms. This pattern of removal indicated one thing: someone didn't want the world to see what satellites had captured. A known phenomenon among satellite image analysts is algorithmic censorship, where AI automatically overwrites sensitive locations. This is common for nuclear sites, intelligence facilities, government compounds. Why was Antarctica suddenly treated the same way? What installations were they hiding beneath the ice? The heat signatures, melting the ice from below. NASA's Ice Bridge mission detected something even more disturbing: massive heat anomalies beneath the glaciers. Not geothermal hotspots, not volcanic vents. These were consistent, stable heat sources, some stretching miles across. Something underground was generating large amounts of energy. Imagine a reactor, a power station, a base. One study estimated the heat equivalent of a small city radiating upward through the ice. But here's the twist. The melting created tunnels, long cylindrical cavities that snaked under the ice shelf. These matched the reported underground tunnels described by military whistleblowers decades earlier. Coincidence? The timing argued otherwise. The impossible contrail. In one of the most shocking satellite captures ever recorded, 2018, researchers found a perfectly straight contrail stretching from the North Pole to the South Pole, nearly 12,000 miles. A contrail can last only minutes before dissipating, which means something traveled pole to pole in under 30 minutes. That requires speeds exceeding 50,000 miles per hour, Mach 65. No aircraft on Earth comes remotely close. But Byrd did claim, in 1947, that he encountered a craft capable of flying from pole to pole in moments. Now, decades later, satellites recorded something matching that description. What are we really seeing? The anomalies fall into categories. 1. Crashed craft-like objects. Impossible shapes, impact trails, unnatural structure. 2. Artificial geometric formations, pyramids, domes, rectangular grids. 3. Massive underground engines or reactors, heat signatures melting the ice from below. 4. Huge cave entrances, circular, symmetrical, engineered. 5. Evidence of ultra-fast vehicles, pole-to-pole contrails, impossible speed markers. Combined, they paint a picture of a continent hiding more than ice, something ancient, something technological, something powerful, something governments do not want discussed.
Ancient civilizations, Atlantis, and global flood myths. For thousands of years, ancient cultures across the world, cultures who never met, never traded, and lived oceans apart, shared a story so similar, so consistent, and so haunting that it raises a powerful question. Were they describing the same catastrophic event? The same lost civilization? The same forgotten world? And more importantly, could that world have been Antarctica before it froze? Let's journey into the oldest memories of humanity. Myths, sacred texts, carved inscriptions, and oral traditions, and uncover the possibility that Antarctica was once home to an advanced civilization wiped out by a global flood. The flood story that won't go away. Nearly every ancient civilization preserved a flood myth. Egypt, Mesopotamia, Greece, India, China, Mesoamerica, indigenous tribes across the Americas, Pacific Island cultures, Aboriginal Australia. The details differ, but the core narrative is the same. A highly advanced world existed before the flood. A sudden catastrophe struck.
the land was destroyed or submerged, and only a few survived, and they rebuilt civilization from the ruins. Historians call this parallel mythology, but when every corner of Earth describes the same cataclysm, parallel becomes pattern. The Sumerian flood, the oldest of all. The Sumerians, the world's earliest known civilization, recorded a detailed account of a global flood in the Epic of Gilgamesh. They described a proud civilization, advanced knowledge, sudden warnings from otherworldly beings, and a devastating deluge. The tablets speak of a time before the oceans rose, when a kingdom of knowledge flourished. Many researchers believe this pre-flood world aligns with the fabled antediluvian civilization that ancient writers referenced, a time when humans lived with beings from the sky who taught them astronomy, agriculture, architecture, and law. Sound familiar? The story echoes Atlantis. Plato's Atlantis, a civilization lost under ice. In 360 BCE, the Greek philosopher Plato wrote of a magnificent island civilization, technologically advanced, powerful, and wise, possessing energy tools lost to our age, destroyed suddenly, swallowed by the sea in a single day and night of misfortune. He called it Atlantis. But here's what most people don't know. Plato said the story came from Egyptian priests who insisted it was history, not myth. And now the key question. Where was Atlantis located? Most theories place it in the Atlantic Ocean, the Sahara, or the Mediterranean, but none perfectly fit Plato's timelines or the sudden disappearance. Except one. Antarctica, before the ice. Researchers like Charles Hapgood and Graham Hancock suggest Earth's crust shifted approximately 12,000 years ago. This shift could have moved Antarctica from a temperate climate to the South Pole, flash freezing everything. This theory matches ancient maps, oral traditions, geological shifts, and the sudden disappearance of an advanced culture. But the most shocking evidence comes from the Egyptians. The Edfu creation texts, a lost land, destroyed by the sky. Inside the Temple of Edfu in Egypt lies one of the most detailed mythological records in history. Inscribed on the walls is the story of a forgotten land the Egyptians called the Island of the Egg, the primeval mound, the homeland of the gods. According to the inscriptions, gods descended from the sky. They built the first temples. They lived with three groups of beings: the sages, the builders, and the Shebtu. They created the blueprint for future civilizations. And then, something catastrophic occurred. The texts describe a serpent in the sky, a great darkness, violent storms, massive waves, the destruction of the island, and the disappearance of its inhabitants. The Egyptians insisted the story was literal history. What if this homeland of the gods wasn't a myth, but a preserved memory of a real place that once existed far to the south? A land that no longer exists above water. A land now buried beneath ice. Antarctica. Ancient maps show Antarctica without ice. Perhaps the most mysterious clue comes from cartography. Several ancient maps, centuries older than Antarctic exploration, depict Antarctica's landmass, ice-free coastlines, accurate mountain ranges. The most famous is the Piri-Reis map of 1513 AD. It outlines the coast of Antarctica with shocking precision, including bays and inlets that can only be seen today with ground-penetrating radar. This suggests two possibilities. 1. Ancient navigators mapped Antarctica thousands of years ago, before it was covered in ice. 2. They inherited knowledge from a forgotten civilization, one capable of exploration far beyond recorded history. Either way, it implies advanced human or non-human activity in the distant past. The global pyramid connection. Ancient pyramids exist on every continent: Egypt, Sudan, China, Mesoamerica, Indonesia, Peru, Bosnia, the Amazon. And now satellite imagery shows pyramid-shaped formations in Antarctica. Some theorists believe these pyramids were part of a worldwide energy network, a power grid designed by an advanced civilization. According to this idea, Antarctica was the southern anchor, Egypt and Mesoamerica formed the equatorial nodes, Asia housed the eastern nodes, and energy flowed across the Earth. If Antarctica once held the master pyramid, it would have been the power center of the ancient world. But when the continent froze, everything was entombed. Survivors of the flood. After the Great Cataclysm, myth after myth tells the same story. A few survivors, traveling across oceans, bringing knowledge to humanity, teaching mathematics, astronomy, agriculture, rebuilding civilization. The Egyptians called them the Shebtiu. The Sumerians called them the Apkallu. The Greeks called them the Atlanteans. Native Americans called them the Star People. The Maya called them the Sky Lords. Every culture describes these beings as tall, wise, luminous, possessing advanced knowledge, not entirely human. Some believe they came from outside Earth. Others believe they came from beneath it. And where did their original homeland lie? The legends all point to the far south, toward the world's most forbidden continent, Antarctica.
The pyramid theory, power grids beneath the ice. Across continents, across oceans, across millennia, pyramids appear again and again. Colossal stone structures rising toward the sky, built with mathematical precision that still challenges modern engineering. But why? Why would ancient civilizations, separated by thousands of miles, all create the same architectural form without any known contact? Pyramids in Egypt, Sudan, China, Indonesia, Mexico, Peru, Bosnia, the Amazon, the Canary Islands, and now Antarctica. Yes, satellite imagery has revealed pyramid-shaped formations buried beneath the ice. Some perfectly symmetrical, some aligned to cardinal directions, some matching the angles of the Great Pyramid of Giza. This raises a profound question. Were the pyramids part of a global system, a network created by an ancient advanced civilization? Let's explore the pyramid power grid theory and why Antarctica may have been the final, most powerful node in this forgotten network. The pyramid mystery, too advanced for their time. Modern researchers agree on one unsettling truth. Ancient pyramids were far ahead of the civilizations they supposedly built them. Consider Egypt's Great Pyramid, perfectly aligned to true north within 1/60th of a degree, built with 2.3 million stones weighing up to 80 tons, edges accurate within millimeters, foundation level to a fraction of an inch. It contains advanced astronomical alignments, encodes the golden ratio, pi, and advanced geodesy. And yet, according to mainstream history, it was built by people without wheels, advanced tools, or iron. Impossible, and yet it stands.
Across the world, other pyramids show similar anomalies. Teotihuacan aligned to the Pleiades. Bosnian pyramids emit measurable energy beams. Chinese pyramids aligned with northern constellations. Indonesian Gunung Padang dates back far older than believed. Mesoamerican pyramids contain quartz chambers. Egyptian pyramids contain granite resonators. The pattern is undeniable. These structures weren't just tombs. They were something else. Machines, conductors, antennas, energy amplifiers. And that leads to the Antarctica connection. The global power grid theory. Scientists, historians, and ancient engineering researchers propose that pyramids formed a planetary energy network. Imagine a global circuit. Pyramids at key points, aligned to Earth's magnetic lines, generating or distributing energy. This aligns with ancient legends describing fire from the sky, temples of energy, beacons for the gods, antennas for the heavens. If pyramids conducted energy, like massive resonators, they needed to be strategically placed, and so pyramids appear at magnetic nodes, along fault lines, near volcanic hotspots, on coastlines, near major rivers. But there is one place that would be the ultimate anchor point: the South Pole, specifically Antarctica. Antarctica's pyramids, fact or fiction? Satellite photographs show multiple pyramid-like peaks in Antarctica's Ellsworth Mountains. These structures have 4 equal triangular sides, show perfect symmetry, maintain consistent slope angles, approximately 52 degrees, are aligned to cardinal directions, and stand isolated from surrounding formations. Critics say they're just mountains. But geologists disagree. Natural mountains typically have irregular shapes, rounded tops, uneven slopes, and random alignment. These Antarctic pyramids resemble engineered structures, not random geology. To make things stranger, thermal scans show different heat signatures than surrounding mountains, suggesting they may be hollow or contain internal structures. And then there's the alignments. The alignment shock. Pyramids across the world connect. Modern mapping reveals a shocking pattern. Draw a straight line around Earth through Giza, Easter Island, Nazca, Angkor Wat, and Mohenjo-Daro, and you find they align perfectly along a single Great Circle line. This is not a coincidence. These ancient sites fall along a geometric sequence known as the Earth Energy Grid, the Lee Line Network, the Resonance Belt. Whatever you call it, it suggests intentional global design. Now add Antarctica's pyramids to the map. They fall exactly on the extension of the same global alignment line. The implication is staggering. Antarctica was part of the planetary grid, perhaps even the central point. The pyramid function, not tomb, but technology. If these structures were technological, what were they used for? Several theories exist. 1. Energy generators. Quartz-lined chambers inside many pyramids suggest piezoelectric energy production. In Antarctica, the presence of quartz-rich sediment under ice would have created massive amplification. 2. Beacons or communication devices. Ancient civilizations described pyramids as star watchers, sky ladders, portals, beacons for the gods, antennas for the heavens. If pyramids conducted energy, like massive resonators, they needed to be strategically placed. So pyramids appear at magnetic nodes, along fault lines, near volcanic hotspots, on coastlines, near major rivers. But there is a place that would be the ultimate anchor point: the South Pole. specifically Antarctica. The ice-sealed superstructure theory. Some scientists propose that beneath Antarctica's ice lies buried cities, enormous foundations, megastructures predating known civilization. Radar scans have shown sharp right angles, perfectly straight corridors, multi-level chamber systems, symmetrical voids, structures resembling ziggurats or pyramids. The data is so precise that the German and American governments sealed portions of Antarctica under research restrictions soon after the findings went public. It's as if they realized something ancient lies beneath the ice, something monumental, something engineered. If Antarctica held the master pyramid, imagine Antarctica before the freeze. Temperate climate, abundant water, thriving life, and an advanced civilization. If it was the origin of the global pyramid network, then Egypt copied its design, Mesoamerica replicated its science, and ancient cultures passed down fragments of its lost knowledge. When the cataclysm came, whether a pole shift, cosmic impact, or global flood, Antarctica froze over in weeks or days, sealing its secrets. The pyramids, the cities, the technology, all locked away. Until now. Because as satellite imagery grows sharper, as ice melts from below due to mysterious heat, as whistleblowers speak, and as ancient legends line up with modern discoveries, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Antarctica may be the key to understanding every pyramid on Earth and the lost civilization that built them.
What lies beneath? Theories, evidence, and unanswered questions. Antarctica, a continent locked away beneath ice older than human civilization, deeper than any mountain range, more mysterious than any region left on Earth. For decades, it was a blank spot on the map. Too cold, too remote, too deadly for exploration. But now, the ice is melting. The satellites are watching. The whistleblowers are speaking. And piece by piece, the last great secret of our planet is being forced into the light. What lies beneath the ice? Is it a forgotten human civilization? A hidden extraterrestrial base? A gateway to an inner world? Or something even stranger? Something we have no words for yet? Let us examine the evidence and the possibilities. The anomalies that can't be ignored. Over the last 30 years, Antarctica has produced more scientific, geological, and technological mysteries than any other continent. Consider this unsettling list. Massive heat signatures beneath the ice, warm enough to melt glaciers from below with no volcanic explanation. Perfectly geometric shapes, captured by satellite radar that reveal rectangular foundations, domes, and symmetrical corridors. Pyramidal mountain structures, matching the geometry of ancient pyramids worldwide. Giant cave-like entrances, shaped exactly like saucer hangars and large enough for aircraft to enter. Crashed cigar-shaped objects with long skid marks resembling interstellar object Oumuamua. Violent electromagnetic anomalies, reported by aircraft flying over restricted zones, causing power failures, navigation malfunctions, and compass spins. Radar-detected voids, as large as the Great Pyramid of Giza, hollow spaces beneath the Thwaites Glacier. Whistleblower testimony, describing underground structures, warm inner chambers, alien-like hieroglyphics, and strange beings preserved in stasis pods. Melting ice revealing unknown formations, including ancient-looking building blocks,
stone-like slabs, and metallic glints. Piece by piece, a picture forms. Something ancient, something abandoned or protected, something intelligent. This is not random geology. This is architecture. This is engineering. This is history buried alive. The most haunting theory: a lost civilization. Let's imagine Antarctica before the freeze, 12,000 to 50,000 years ago. A warm continent, forests, lakes, rivers, shorelines, an ecosystem filled with life. Scientists have already confirmed that Antarctica was once lush and green, home to entire forests. So the real question becomes, could humans, or something like humans, have lived there? Every ancient text points to a time before the flood when a highly advanced civilization flourished. The Sumerians described antediluvian cities of the gods. The Egyptians wrote of a lost homeland to the south. Plato described Atlantis disappearing suddenly. The Hindu Vedas spoke of advanced Deva civilizations. Indigenous tribes across the world described sky visitors before a global catastrophe. If this civilization existed on Antarctica and was destroyed by a sudden pole shift or cosmic event, its remnants would be preserved under the ice like a time capsule. And here is the spine-chilling truth. Radar scans and whistleblower accounts both claim there are entire cities beneath the ice. Not ruins scattered randomly. Cities. City-sized grid patterns. City-sized heat signatures. City-sized voids. Buried. Sealed. Silent. Waiting. This is not random geology. This is architecture. This is engineering. This is history buried alive. The extraterrestrial theory. Another theory suggests the structures beneath the ice did not originate from Earth's surface civilization at all. Instead, they may belong to extraterrestrial visitors, interdimensional beings, inner Earth civilizations, or a hybrid of all three. Why Antarctica? Because it is isolated, shielded, naturally concealed, strategically placed between continents, energetically charged due to Earth's magnetic fields, and nearly impossible for humans to explore. If an extraterrestrial civilization wished to hide a base on Earth, Antarctica would be the ideal location. This theory is supported by disc-shaped entrances, non-human symbols, zero-energy door mechanisms, advanced lighting systems, subglacial tunnels, and technology that seems to generate heat or power underground. More disturbingly, multiple whistleblowers claim living beings, tall, thin, biologically preserved, have been seen in stasis pods within underground structures. This echoes Admiral Byrd's encounter with beings from the inner realms of Earth. The question becomes, are these beings ancient survivors, or are they still alive, waiting to awaken? The inner Earth theory. For centuries, legends have described a world beneath our own. Agartha, Shambhala, Duant, Xibalba, the underworld, the inner sanctuary, the hollow city. Ancient cultures from Tibet to Egypt, from the Maya to the Hopi, all describe advanced civilizations inside the Earth. Admiral Byrd claimed to have flown into this inner world. He described cities of light and beings of great intelligence. Antarctica, according to these legends, may house one of the few natural entrances to that realm. And some believe the structures found beneath the ice are not simply ancient ruins, but doors. Doors leading downward, deep downward. What does the government know? Consider the strange behavior of global powers. The US and Soviet Union both sent classified expeditions during the Cold War and never disclosed their findings. Nazi Germany sent a covert mission in 1938, searching for ancient artifacts and hidden realms. The Antarctic Treaty prohibits independent exploration by private citizens or researchers. Restricted no-fly zones cover key anomaly regions. Military personnel are frequently stationed without explanation. NASA and ESA have accidentally censored satellite images of pyramid regions and cave entrances. Why all the secrecy? What is so dangerous about a frozen continent? Unless Antarctica holds the ruins of Atlantis, the remnants of an alien base, the entrance to inner Earth, advanced ancient technology, or dormant beings in stasis? If Antarctica does hide these, then revealing the truth would upend religion, rewrite science, challenge geopolitics, destabilize governments, and entirely reshape humanity's identity. This may be why secrecy has prevailed for decades. The world might not be ready, but the ice keeps melting. The satellites keep imaging. The old myths keep resurfacing. The whistleblowers keep speaking. Something is coming. A revelation. A discovery. A moment in human history when the truth can no longer be hidden beneath the ice. And when that day arrives, everything we know about our past, present, and future will change forever.
And so, after exploring Admiral Byrd's secret accounts, the whistleblower testimonies, the satellite anomalies, the ancient myths, and the structures hidden deep beneath the Antarctic ice, one truth stands out. We are only scratching the surface. Antarctica remains the last sealed vault of our planet, a place where history, mystery, and suppressed knowledge collide. Whether the truth points to a lost civilization, an extraterrestrial presence, or something far more ancient, one thing is certain: the world beneath the ice is not what we've been told. If you've stayed with me all the way to the end, thank you. Your time, curiosity, and open mind mean more than you know. This community isn't just watching videos. You're helping uncover forgotten chapters of our past. Every like, every comment, every share helps keep these investigations alive. So if this documentary sparked new thoughts, blew your mind, or challenged what you believed was possible, hit like, share it with someone who loves mysteries, and tell me in the comments what you think lies beneath Antarctica. I read every message. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next episode may uncover something even more shocking. Thank you for watching. And as always, stay curious, stay brave, and keep searching for the truth.